All right, we're talking with Joe Swidehoffer, the Bryan Insurance guy, about underinsured motorists. And this is something that, I guess, due to the economy and being the way it is, a lot of people either A, don't have insurance, or maybe they don't have enough insurance. And how are you supposed to do something about that?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head, really. There are a lot of people out there that, while it is state law that you have minimum limits of liability in the event you're in an accident, you hit somebody else. Quite honestly, there's a lot of people that just don't carry it. They may get it for a couple of days to suffice to maybe get their tags or something like that, and then they just don't pay the bill and it expires. But hey, they've already got their tags, so they don't have to worry about it. So it's one of those things that's becoming more and more prevalent. We have a client the other day that ran into that same situation, got rear-ended, not their fault. The person that rear-ended them actually jumped out of the car right away and said, "Hey, I don't have any insurance." And so, yeah, it's the law, but a lot of people don't have it. And so while you need to be insured for you hitting somebody else, if somebody hits you that doesn't have it, and there's bodily injuries, you and your passengers get hurt, the other thing to worry about is uninsured motorist property damage. So they hit you, and maybe they hit you hard enough to where your vehicle needs to be repaired, or a worst case scenario is totaled. Well, who pays for that if they don't have insurance? Kind of how does all that work? And that's where uninsured motorist coverage comes in. And so you need to make sure, I always try to make it a good idea to insure yourself with uninsured motorists the same amount, if not more. Actually, it's the same amount that you're insuring the other people that you may hit. So typically you want to match your limits on that. If you're doing like a split limit, whether it's 100, 300, or 250, 500, you want to make sure that you match that limit on uninsured motorists. Now, that's on the bodily injury side. On the property damage side, different schools of thought. This is just one guy's opinion. You want to make sure you have enough coverage if you hit somebody else to cover their vehicle from a total loss standpoint. So have enough coverage built into that. 100, 110, 150,000 should probably take care of it. Obviously, if you hit a really expensive, maybe an Aston Martin or Ferrari or something like that, there's not going to be coverage limits in there for that. But then again, you maybe roll the dice a little bit and say, how often am I going to come into contact with one of those? Most policies covering for 100,000 should take care of it. Now, let's flip to the other side. This is where opinions come in. I typically say a rule of thumb is to only put enough uninsured motorist property damage to cover the vehicle that you drive. So, for example, I drive an 04 F-150 that's probably worth, on a good day, shiny clean, maybe $5,000. Typically, the floor limit that you can cover a vehicle for is $25,000. So for me, both of our cars that my wife and I drive are less than that. I say, hey, if my vehicle gets totaled, the most they're going to pay me is what the vehicle is worth. So why do I need to cover my vehicle for more than the minimum $25,000? Now, if I go out to Bailey's or I go over to Davidson's and I decide to treat myself to a nice brand new pickup or maybe a new Suburban, something like that, and it's, 50, 60,000, yeah, I'm going to need to update that. Or maybe I win the lottery. Maybe I decide I want to pick up that Aston Martin that's worth $150,000, $250,000. I'm going to need to obviously modify my coverage for that. But I don't think that you need to put more uninsured motorist property damage coverage on your policy than your vehicle is really worth. But it's something you definitely need to review and kind of take a look at. One of the cool things we're doing at Bryan Insurance this week is you can check out our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com, look up Bryan Insurance, and we're going to be putting some more information about this underinsured motorist coverage on there. But it's definitely something you want to talk to your agent about and just make sure you're covered the way you need to be.
You're in an accident. Uninsured motorist is one thing, but what about underinsured motorists? Folks that they get the bare minimum, just like I said, you get that card, but you get hit by them, and like you say, you've got that bigger car or more expensive car. They hit you, and they don't have enough limits. What do you do there?
Yeah, it's really simple. You obviously will look at it from a bodily injury standpoint, and quite honestly, usually in an auto accident, that's where the bulk of the money goes to, is towards bodily injuries, bumps, bruises, neck pain, back pain, stuff of that nature. So let's just use some raw numbers here and say that you get hit by somebody. It's a really bad accident, whether they hit you from the side or on the back or what have you, and you've got, let's just say, $100,000 worth of medical bills, which is honestly not too hard to get to when you start dealing with, having to do therapy and things of that nature. So we'll say you've got $100,000 worth of medical bills, and you, for ease of use, you're the only person in the car. Well, let's say the person that hit you only has $30,000 worth of coverage from their policy. You get to eat the rest of that. So while you're laying in the hospital bed hurt, or laying at home hurt, you get to figure out how you're going to make up that other $70,000. So uninsured, underinsured motorists is where that kicks in. You want to make sure you have enough coverage so that if that person hits you and they're only going to cover you for 30 and your bills are 100, but hey, guess what? You've got underinsured motorist coverage for 100,000. So their 30 is going to come in, your 100 is going to pick up the other 70, and you're well on your way to recovery then. So underinsured motorists is another key part of that you want to make sure you have.
All right, all this information is flying all over the place, and folks might have some questions. If they want to get a hold of you and find out what's going on, I know there's websites, phone numbers, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So Facebook, we're featuring all of these this topic on Facebook this week. So go to facebook.com, look up Bryan Insurance, and you can read about some information on there. Also, you can always come up second floor of the Sierra Bank building. We'll, as always, give you that free elevator right up to the second floor. And come on up, talk to Ann, Lynette, myself, or 549-2525 is always a great number to reach us at as well, or BryanINS.com. A lot of great information on our website as well.
All right, thank you, Joe. Appreciate the time. And he's Joe, the Bryan Insurance guy. Stay tuned.